FYZ4K here. Welcome back to another one. I hope you guys are doing well and keeping safe. Today I wanted to talk to you about my Sony A7 III and how it is doing in 2020. Is it still worth buying this camera in 2020? And 10 solid points as to why you should own a Sony A7 III in 2020. How many times have I said 2020? Okay, so without further ado, here is the camera. I actually got like a quick release plate at the bottom here, so obviously your camera won't look like this when you pick it up. It's a really awesome full frame mirrorless camera. Right at the back here, it has a tilt screen. So, you know, if you're kind of shooting low, you can tilt it upwards, and if you are shooting high, like you're shooting a party or a dance floor, you can pivot it to something like that. It's quite nice. It has a partial touch screen. So when I say that, it means that you can use it for the focus. That's pretty much the primary reason or use of touching the screen at the back here, is for the focus points. So quickly, I'm going to start off with the 10 solid points as to why you should still purchase or own a Sony A7 III in 2020. So number one, this camera was released in April of 2018. The time of its release, it was the top of its line when you compare it to the Canon and to the Nikon. Number two, it's a 4K non-crop sensor. Number three is that it shoots at 1080p at 120 frames per second. Number four is that it has in-body stabilization. Number five is the autofocus. The autofocus has 693 points of focus, which is incredible. Number six is the low light sensors. These mirrorless cameras are known for it, but the Sony A7 III has an incredible low light sensor. Number seven, this is my favorite, is that it has a dual slot SD card reader, which is fantastic, because what this means is that you can be recording on two SD cards at the same time. The other amazing part is, here's a little hack, is that if you've shot on one SD card and you need to transfer it onto another SD card. Now this has happened for me a couple of times where I'm shooting a wedding, I'm using my SD card. Now, let's say the company I'm shooting for wants me to transfer whatever I have on one SD card to their SD card, because the way it usually works when I shoot weddings for another company is that I shoot on their SD card. However, if I get to the venue before the company does, then I'll start shooting on my SD card, and then by the end of the day, they'll give me an SD card and be like, hey, can you just, you know, transfer whatever you have from your SD card to mine? You can actually do that on your camera over here. Number eight is the battery life. With the Sony A7 III, they made an improvement with the battery. It is running on, I'll just give you the information right now. It's an NP-FZ100 battery pack. Now with this battery over here, you can get 700 shots or 700 pictures, 700 stills on a single fully charged battery. Now if you were doing video, there isn't an exact number out there. They say continuous shooting is about 2.5 hours of continuous non-stop shooting. If I'm shooting a wedding where it's like shooting in segments, for instance, then I've noticed that a single battery can last up to 6 hours. I usually shoot, let's say, a full day getting ready to like the park shoot, to the actual wedding, to the reception, the dinner reception. I'll go through about 2 batteries in 12 hours. So I own 2 of these batteries, and I'm good for about 12-hour coverage, which is fantastic and phenomenal compared to the A7 II that I used to own before this. Number 9 on this list is that this camera is equally good for pictures and video. You don't really see a lot of that out there, especially with Nikon and Canon. The argument is that Nikon is better for pictures, Canon is better for video. However, with the Sony A7 III, you could be doing both. And the final reason to get a Sony A7 III or to have one in 2020 is the compact light size. Now, if you were to kind of compare this to a body of a Nikon, let's say like a Nikon D850 or like the Nikon D4s or D5s, or I'm not sure if there's a D6 yet, or we're looking at the Canons right at the top of the line. The bodies are huge, they're big, they're heavy. This is compact, it's mirrorless, and that is the final reason why I feel that Sony A7 III is still worth it for 2020. If I were to talk about one negative point about this camera, and it's only fair that I do talk about something that they could improve on, is the screen at the back. I would love if it was a full function touch screen, like you could go through your menus and everything with your finger. The other thing is that I would love to see a flip screen that comes up to the top right over here, where, you know, for YouTubers, vloggers, podcasts, people that are shooting video, whatever, it would be really handy if they had a flip screen. I don't see why they couldn't do that in the future. I mean, the A7R IV just came out, and unfortunately they haven't done it yet. So what I'm using right now is a monitor that sits right on top of the camera. It's by FieldWorld. I have talked about it in a few of my other videos, but we will be doing a full review on it really soon. Other than that, I love it. I'm really happy with this camera, and I would highly recommend and suggest it. I believe I got this in the mid 2000 range at the time it came out. Usually the A7 III does come with a kit lens if you were looking to get a camera with a kit lens. However, my kit lenses are long gone and have traded them in for some awesome lenses, which we'll do a review on in the coming future as well. So you guys stay safe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, guys.